city of Houston and the city of Edmonton because they're both oil towns.
Right.
And they're both very flat, no hills, nothing like that. So in terms of those two things, very similar. But the weather, totally different story. Houston, hot and humid. Edmonton can get really, really cold in the wintertime. And I played some very, very cold football games, anywhere from minus 38 to minus 42 Celsius. So I know about playing in the cold and didn't enjoy it, but it was always a big advantage for us because other teams had to come to our place and play.
Talk about the adaptation of your game to the NFL game. When you came down here to play your final 17 years in the league, what did the coaches say to you? I mean, you said, well, the CFL's a different game. The field's longer, the field's wider. You have to play a different game here. Did they tell you? Were you expecting to have to hand off the ball 25 times a game when you got down here?
I thought I would because Earl Campbell was in Houston at the time I got there, but he was kind of tailing off in his career because he had taken a tremendous beating over those first 6-7 years of his career.
That'll be our next question.
Yeah, and we were a young football team, didn't have a lot of talent because we were in that rebuilding mode. The thing that Canada did for me, it made me a much more versatile quarterback because of the offense that we ran up there. I was able to throw the ball on the run. I could do that very well, and I could also drop back and throw the football because my arm was strong enough to throw it in those strong winds up there, and also it was a wider field. You had to really have a good arm to throw those outs out there. So I was a much more versatile quarterback when I came. It was just a matter of the Houston Oilers offensive staff trying to figure out what was best for me. And it took us a couple of years to figure out what offense was going to work best for me with the people that we had. And once we figured that out, we just took off.
Now, you mentioned Earl Campbell. One of the things we like to do on our shows is try to bring to light the plight of the senior retired players and what's going on with your fight for your guys to get better medical benefits, to get recognition for the injuries. We've had numerous of your former colleagues on our show. What do you want to say to these young guys now? Because it really rips me up when a guy like Drew Brees, loaded talent in the world, but he comes out after the Super Bowl and says, why should we help the retired players now because they screwed up their money? And when we know it's not a question of that. So I know you have to have some kind of strong feelings on this one.
Well, I do, and there is a sentiment out there with some of the younger players that some of these guys just squandered away their money, and that's why they're in the position that they are.
Not the case.
And in some cases it is, but I still think it's their responsibility to look after the guys who played the game, the younger players, because that's exactly what we did when we came up through the ranks. I went on strike for free agency in the NFL in 1988, and that's one of the reasons why Drew Brees was able to go from San Diego to the New Orleans Saints and get big money through free agency. So guys paved the way to make it better for the next generation of guys, so it's only proper that I think those guys should take care of the guys that paved the way for them, if they possibly can, and if it's not going to take away from their livelihood, and there's certainly a way to do that. The way you structure things to make sure some of these guys that have really had some tough times with their lives after the game is over, there's ways to do that to take care of some of these guys. And I'm hoping that the young players will understand that and look at the history of the game and look at the history of what's been done for them and make some better decisions about how they take care of some of these guys.
So you